Welcome to Driveway Garage. Today I'm working on my washing machine. It made a really loud noise yesterday and then it quit working. It sounded like it ran into a rock. So I thought, well, I'll take it apart, see if I can figure out what's wrong with it. A lot of times things get jammed in the impeller. So first I'll show you what my wash machine looks like. Its model is from 2008. I found that out when I took a package off the back of it. Or, oh sure, just stick. This is when it was delivered, and that was July 2008. So this thing's 14 years old. This is the model number and serial number, just in case you need something for a reference. This is what the front of the wash machine looks like. Now, our laundry room is about 5 feet wide. It's just big enough for the washer and dryer to sit over here on this side. So what I had to do first was pull out the dryer that sit over on the right. And as I pulled it out, the dryer vent tube fell off, which was good. And then I got it out far enough I was able to go climb in behind it and unplug it. Now, like I said, it's really tight quarters. So what I did was I opened the door that goes into the house. I slid the dryer into there and I put it on a 2-wheel dolly so I could move it easier. I got it out of the way there. Then I walked around outside through the garage because you couldn't go through here because the dryer's in the way. I opened the garage door and I got the dryer sitting out here now. Actually, when I was working on the dryer, I had to walk to the outside and back because I couldn't get past the dryer. So I came back inside and I took a doggy leash. You can see the end of it right there. I tied it to this doorknob and I tied this door out of the way. And then I went straight out into the garage with the dryer to get it out of the way. So it now sits in the garage. Now, if you're like me, I had 2 or 3 inches of water inside of the wash machine. I had to get rid of that. And I wasn't sure if I could easily, but what I did is I took my little shop vac and the drain hose fit perfectly into the shop vac hose. And I turned it on and I have no filter in there, so it's like a wet vac now. And that sucked all the water out of the wash machine. It took me 2 tries because there was probably, I'm guessing, 4 or 5 gallons of water. I put at least 2 gallons of water in the shop vac, dumped it out, did it again, and then I proceeded to go take the wash machine apart. And I'm going to show you how I did that. So like I said, the first thing I did was I disconnected the drain hose up here. And it was ran through this tie strap. That keeps the hose from coming up out of the drain and giving you problems like flooding your house. And I thought maybe I would have to siphon the water out. So I took this screw out where this hose is, right here. And I took the hose and fed it all the way into the wash machine. In order to do that, I had to take this back panel off. Let me turn this off for a second. We don't need that much light. There's a Phillips screw here, and there's one on the other side. Then you just lift this panel up a little bit, and it comes off. And then you have access to the water pump. So let me get this off, and I'll continue. Okay, I got the back off. And like I said, I didn't need to do it, but I took this screw out, took this plastic clip off, and I fed the hose all the way through into the wash machine because I thought I might have to siphon it out of there. But if you've got a little shop vac, you can just suck all the water out of this pump, and it sucks it out of the wash machine. This is the drain hose, that black hose back there. This clamp is really easy to take off. You can use your fingers move it in and out. You have to take that clamp off. This one is a lot stiffer because this is where the water pumps out of and gets pressure on it. So you have to use some kind of pliers. In my case, I use these channel locks. And you just pinch this together and that hose will slide off like that. You pinch it back together when you're done, slides over there. So you get the clamps off, then you wiggle the hoses off. They come off pretty easy. Now, right now mine's a little loose because I've already done this twice. There's 3 12mm bolts. You can see one there, 2 over here. Now you can use a big screwdriver. You take those bolts out of there. 1, 2, and 3. And this whole thing just comes out of there. Now, so, see if I can wiggle that off there with one hand. There we go. Get that out of the way. Now there's also an electrical connector for the motor. And I've already got mine loose, as you can see, but there's a push tab on the side right there. And it's sitting in the machine like this. So somehow you got to get your fingers in there and squeeze this part, and then it just pulls straight out. Once you get it unplugged, your motor comes out. That pump. Now, I looked inside of mine, and it looked like inside of here it was all melted at the bottom. And you can see the impeller in there. If I get the lighting right, maybe. There's the impeller. And it looked like it had melted inside there. I wasn't sure. So, on further research, I found out that there's 4 screws to hold the electric pump to the housing. The first one you want to take off is this white one. That screw right there. So let me get that off of there. And once you get that screw out, this part of the housing just slides straight back and off. Okay, come on, cooperate. Alright, get that out of the way. Now you've got your motor here. It's held in by 3 screws. One at the bottom. You see that silver thing? One on the right, one on the top. So let me get those screws out of there. Now you can just use a regular screwdriver. I'm using my cordless drill with the Phillips screwdriver bit attachment. I'm also using this on the 12mm. I have an adapter and a 12mm socket, and that's what I got those 3 bolts out with. It just makes it quicker. But if you don't have that, just use a regular socket or a big Phillips. Now once you get the 3rd screw out, the housing the motor separates from the housing. When you put it back together, just remember as it's sitting there like that, your electrical connector goes to the left. There's an O-ring around here that keeps water out of the motor. And mine evidently wasn't working too good because when I took it all apart, there was some water and junk inside of the motor. I took this all apart and I hot wired it to 110 through this clip. And it didn't work, but I cleaned it all out inside and I got it to work. Let me see if I can pop this out of here again. If you pull up on this piece of black plastic here, this whole center part will come out of the motor. So let me get that out of there. Okay, so this impeller part, like I said, there's an O-ring and then that just pulls out. Now it's magnetized, so it's a little sticky to get out of there. You just got to keep pulling and pulling it there. So this is your impeller part. This is the motor part. This is part of the motor, that cylinder. And there's the O-ring that's supposed to keep the moisture out. Now when I took mine apart, the light over here, that thing was just full of junk. Almost like grease and slime. So I cleaned it all out. I tried WD-40, that did nothing, so I used brake cleaner. Probably not the best thing to use, but it got all the junk out of there. Once I got all that stuff out of there, I put it back together and it worked. But I put it back in the wash machine and it wouldn't work good enough to do its job. It's in a bind. So I ordered this part off of Amazon. It's like 20 or 25 bucks. I couldn't find the exact number that's on the back of here. 629-02090. It's probably been updated because this is 14 years old. But I found one that looks exactly like it. You got to make sure that it's got this electrical connection there where it belongs. And whoa, and then that just goes back in there. So I'm leaving on vacation tomorrow, so I'm not going to be able to fix this. So I made this instructional video for my stepson, so hopefully he can put it back together and have a wash machine to use. Otherwise, I'll put it together and fix it when I get home. And at the moment, I'm assuming that's the only problem, is that this motor got burned up when... Oh yeah, I was going to show you this. This is what I found in the impeller. No idea what it is. It kind of seems like a piece of metal. It's hard as a rock. And that was jammed in the impeller, and that's what made such a loud clunking sound. And that's what burned out the motor, I guess. So it's 14 years old, 25 bucks for maintenance. I guess that's a pretty good deal. And this wash machine was here when we bought the house 6 years ago. So it's washed a lot of laundry. Trying to think. Yeah, if you don't drain the water out of the hose like I did, when you take those clamps off and those hoses down below, all that water is going to go inside your wash machine. So it's better to drain it ahead of time. Plus, it makes it several pounds lighter. Now, getting this back in here is going to be a pain because, as you can see, there's the dryer hose. And I may have to take the wash machine out of here. Put the dryer in because it has to go in there flat and probably first. And then I can slide the wash machine in because I'll have more room to hook up these hoses than I do that hose. Look at all the junk that accumulates over the years. There. We never cleaned this when we bought the place. We just moved in and, you know, you set stuff on top of the washer and dryer and then it falls in the back and that's where it stays. Plus all the other junk I already took out, like some rags. There's a box of junk out in the hallway. Anyway, I hope this helps somebody out. The reversal, you put your new motor in, put some soap and water maybe on the O-ring to make sure it slides in. This part will slide into that bracket. And you just have to make sure when you slide it in that your electrical connection is on the left. So sometimes you, depending on how your impeller's jammed up, you might be able to just take out whatever's jamming it up, put it back together and fix it. So, like I said, put some soapy water on the O-ring so it slips in easier. Slip that back together. And put in your 3 screws. And then slide this bracket over the motor. So this hole lines up with the hole on the right at the top. Put that together. Then put it back down in the opening. Plug in your wiring harness. Now's a good time to put your 3 bolts back in. That'll hold it stable while you put your 2 hoses on. Put your 2 clamps on. This back panel, you can see that it's got longer tabs at the top than the bottom. So those long tabs go to the top. They slip in these grooves here. Push it up all the way, then slide it down till it goes into these 2 tabs. Then put your 2 Phillips screwdrivers on there. Now, depending on if you had to take your hose off, make sure that's secure. In my case, I need to make sure this tie down goes around this hose, which will go to the hot water side. That way, when this gets a lot of pressure on it, I've seen this happen in the past, they'll pop right up out of that hole and they'll shoot all your dirty water right onto your floor, and you don't want that. Well, good luck. I hope this helps somebody if they're having problems. There are other videos where these are RPM sensors. If they go bad, your motor might not run. In behind here, there's a starter motor, and it could go bad, but it's replaceable. You take off this nut, and then there's some other bolts that hold it in there. There's videos on YouTube about it. But hope this helps you out, and good luck with your projects.